So we can put it on the YouTube channel later.
Should I wait till a little bit late? No. Okay.
Started at noon.
I think we still have a forum.
Oh, yeah, 4. Is it 4? So.
Don, are you good, or do you want to? Good.
Thanks. How are you? Good, good. I'm down in Iowa Falls last week. Quick drive. Pretty drive. Yeah. It's nice drive. Yeah. I like driving. Try to get some fruit in the fruit and small in.
Time to go.
All right. It's noon, so I'll go ahead and call this June 11th meeting to order. Do we have any citizen comments? No citizen comments. Moving on to the active agenda. Approval of minutes of May 14th, 2024, which are in your packet.
So move. Second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'll open it up for discussion. Anybody have any comments? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Approval of invoices, we'll do Tribune Publishing Company, public hearing notice amend on the amended budget for termination of area number 4, invoice number 178283 for $190, as well as O'Sullivan Legal PLLC legal services for May in the amount of $132.50.
And why don't you take them one at a time, just
Okay.
because Tribune.
I was thinking that as
Yep.
I said that. Okay,
Yep.
so we'll do the Tribune Publishing Company first for $190. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I'll open that up for discussion. Any company?
And one abstain.
Okay,
Abstain.
all right. All those in favor say aye, with which abstaining?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, so next invoice is O'Sullivan Legal PLLC for legal services for May, $132.50. Entertain a motion.
I'll move the proof.
Second.
I'll open for discussion.
No. It feels like I know O'Sullivan from attendance most meetings by Zoom,
Yes.
including today.
Yep.
It would, just repeat, it'd be nice sometime when he's kicking around the valley to include us with a personal visit. Nothing like shaking hands in person as opposed to online.
Did you get that, Thad?
Yes, and I agree. I apologize that I haven't been able to make it work, but I definitely, I feel exactly the same, and I definitely want to make it down there for at least 1 or 2 meetings. So hopefully soon.
Great.
Available for a fee.
Well, I appreciate the flexibility that you all have allowed me to participate via Zoom too. It's really helpful. So thank you. And I really do need to get down there. So I will, I promise.
Okay, got it. All right, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion passes. Review the financial summary, which is just information only for the month of May, which she handed out today. I don't know if you have anything to comment, Shannon, on that.
The only thing I'm gonna comment on is, that I did a comparison for May 31st, 2023 to May 31st, 2024 of our accounts. The total interest earned as of 5/31/23 was approximately $5,500, and you can see interest earned 5/31/24 is approximately $52,000. So, big difference between a year. Certainly we got some increment, but it's also that transfer to the state treasurer's pool that Joe asked us to look into that really made a big difference there. That trajectory won't continue after we close East Main, of course, because we will transfer any monies we have in the state treasurer's pool to Banner Bank and then start doing distributions. But regardless, I just wanted to point that out to the group.
Right, so, if I remember right, I
think it was gonna be around 48,000 for the added interest we get by moving to the money market. But
Yeah, and
it
so
probably
we're
won't be
around-
that since we're closing East Main. It won't make quite that
It,
much.
it might. Right now we're doing about 11,000 a month.
Mhm.
And we don't distribute checks until about August,
Okay.
so we got a
Oh,
couple
yeah,
months still.
okay, yeah,
Yeah,
Good.
so actually, yeah, I think it will. I think it'll exceed that, actually.
yeah, okay, and then, so the distribution will happen after August?
It'll happen in August.
In August,
We will
okay.
bring we'll bring the distribution checks for the round one to you, on your agenda in August.
Alright,
So do I read this that in September 30th, this downtown Normal Hill was 86,000?
Mhm.
And we're up to 226 on it.
Correct, because you got the increment of 142 so far, and then some of the expenses are taken out.
It's growing faster than I thought. Excuse me.
Anybody else have any comments in regards to the financial statement?
Which month do we? Is it next month we would decide if we wanted to pay additional on the farm?
We're gonna have that discussion today with
Today.
these orchards, yeah, just to speed it up.
All right, with no other discussion, I'll move on the agenda. Moving on to signatories of URA bank accounts.
Yeah, so what we should do every time we change chair is have a action item on the agenda to say, remove the previous chair, name them by name in the minutes, add the new chair, and do that for all three bank accounts. So we've done that for two. I think we need to do it for one, but what I would like to do today is do that official, remove Joanne Cole-Hanson from the URA bank accounts, add Sheila Bond, as well as Shannon Grow and Katie Hollingshead for the state treasurer's pool, the Banner Bank accounts, and the Twin River National Bank accounts. If somebody wants to just say, I make that motion, we know how to put that in the minutes.
Okay, perfect. I was like trying to go think about how to do that.
That way it meets all the standards for you.
yeah, so moved, I'll make the motion.
Second?
All right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those
I
opposed?
thought we had done.
I thought so too.
We have for one, possibly two, but we're starting this, and this will be our script for, from now on.
Good.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Moving on, East Orchard Sewer RRA number 5, discussion and possible direction to staff. Turn it over to you guys.
Okay, so, as we had spoke about last year, we reviewed kind of some different, trajectories that, the board could take, and different, manners in which we could approach the East Orchard Sewer and completing sections of the build out. As you guys know, sections 17, 18, and 19 have been designed. They're kind of ready to go. They're hanging out, in that design phase. We have not gone into construction with them. The board did approve the completion of the segment 7 design. And I believe that is almost complete, and you'll be seeing kind of final invoices for that design at next month's meeting. So at this point, we had had a conversation with Joe Kaufman, who is here if you guys have questions. And the city was applying for possibility of some additional funding through some DEQ grants that were available. So that information has come back. We were not awarded monies. They awarded the top 3. We were number 4. There is always the possibility that if 1, 2, or 3 does not have a shovel-ready project, that money could trickle down to us. But that's kind of a very large could, and unknown how much money, when that money, all of those things. So the board had asked to revisit this once we had better information on the grant situation. So knowing that we don't have any grant monies coming, we would like the board to consider what they would like to do next. And as, Board Member Anderson just mentioned, in the past, we have done additional payments on the bond. If the board wanted to do that, that's definitely a possibility. But that would take money away from that pot that you're kind of trying to grow so that you could do construction on those design segments that are kind of sitting right now, right? So as you can see in the financial review that Shannon had handed out, we have just over $1 million in available funds. And the projections from engineering costs is about $500,000 for each of those segments. So you don't have enough to do all three. You could potentially put out a RFQ and a bid request for 17 and 18. Leaving 19 kind of hanging, or you could maybe ask for 17 and 18 with 19 being a bid alternative. With the hope that maybe we're far enough in the season that somebody can't get to us until next year anyways, and that would give time for more increment to accrue. When we had looked at this last fall and I had projected everything, my projections had included not starting until 26 with that idea that we needed to have at least 100 or $1.5 million to be able to build those three sections.
So we're a little bit accelerated from that. We do the math and we will get to the 1.5 sooner probably than 2026.
Yes.
What we're looking for is, do we want to, we also have segment 1 designed. However, previous conversations have said, one's really not the direction that we want to go with this. 17, 18, 19, and then the further on segments were kind of the route to go. So what we're doing today is just giving you an update on where the DEQ money was, because that's what we were waiting for. The DEQ money would have said, let's do this, let's push forward, and what other segments might be included in there. But it does look like we're just kind of back on track to doing the 17, 18, and 19 as the first round, and then continuing on with design of the next round, as we previously discussed. Again, what we're looking for today is, because we have to do budgets, typically in August, we do an amended budget for the current year and a new budget for the next fiscal year. The reason being that we did those amended budgets was because of the bond payments. Sometimes it was 200, sometimes it was 300. And as Katie stated, if we make additional bond payments, that's completely the purview of the board to do. However, it will slow down the ability to do the next set of projects. So you're just kind of weighing those things. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, so my knee-jerk reaction is that if there's, room in the summertime to get something done, we should try to get it done. And then with everything else being equal, maybe we choose by the growth potential of each one of those lines. Like if one line has a bunch of empty lots that we could.
So
start doing
17, 18, and 19 are all in a row, and those will need to be completed before you can continue moving east.
Right,
Yeah.
so,
And you
If
would
we're
have to do 17, because that would hook into the most recent piece.
so that would be an easy one then.
Yeah, so you could say 17 and 18, 19 is the most southern on that.
Yeah, okay, well then, it
Piece.
sounds like, the order kind of takes care of itself then.
Yeah.
I was saying,
So-
if it didn't, then we would try to maximize growth potential early.
Sure.
If there, if there are a lot of vacant lots, and then this would
Mhm.
get building going, so we can get more
Yeah.
housing, that would be a consideration, but
Yeah.
it sounds like.
Yeah, when we looked at it before and we looked at it through the map, it did make sense to do 17, 18, and 19 for both of those reasons. One, it hooked into it. Two, it would allow for future growth. And I guess there's 3 reasons. The third being that it would allow for more density in those areas.
Well, my vote would be, to not do additional bond payments and to see if we can start construction and get something done before, winter sets in.
Of 25.
This would be for next summer? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Why lose a year, waiting?
Yep.
That would be my take.
Well, I agree. I kind of like the idea, as we've done in the past, of paying down debt sooner rather than later. But this is a case where we've got projects we can move forward on. I favor that we move forward with projects.
Thank you for.
That was a little foggy. We could do 17 and 18 quicker, or we do them all at once.
So you have enough money
To do 19.
to do 17 and 18, because each segment costs approximately $500,000. I mean, and it has the potential to maybe be more. I mean, we haven't gone out for bids yet, so.
Yeah.
But that was the engineer's estimate, is that it's approximately $500,000 for each of those segments, those longer ones,
So we could do 17 and 18.
with what is currently in the bank.
But bidding 19 at the same time may save us money on mobilization.
Yeah.
May make it a more attractive project to another contractor.
Correct, and that was part of the discussion last fall, was, how do you make the project kind of cost effective, right? And that was part of the, thought process with waiting, is to have enough money to do all of them together, but, definitely is the option to say 2 for sure and have the third be the alternative.
So the tax stream is gonna be coming in, later this month.
Yeah, the June
into
payments.
July, so that'll
Yeah.
pick up enough probably to do the 19th.
Probably not, because you already received half the year, or actually more than half the year. It's oftentimes it's like 2/3 on the December payments and then a third. So we've already collected 400,000. And the projection is 660, so you'd only pick up another 260, but you're definitely gonna be closer in.
To next year's 400 by the time.
Yeah.
Dirt's
Yeah, and that's why we're saying now it appears we will not have to wait till 26. We can do this in 25.
I agree. I think we should do all three together, but all three.
Yeah.
Make it more appealing personally. Thomas, anything you want to add to that?
The only thing I can think to add is just that, Katie did a good job of kind of summarizing the outcome from the DEQ grant application. The DEQ did go, along to try to, make sure I knew, so I'll pass along that they have funding for that same sort of grant program for the next 3 years. So there's still some potential there where we were on the bubble, but that's hard to plan around, so.
Yeah.
No.
So, if I remember right, Katie, you or Shannon said that there's like a test you can do in the water to tell whether the nitrates are coming from septic as opposed to agriculture. And, is that right?
Yeah, like I said, I don't think that was a comment from us, that might have came from Mr. Kaufman.
I don't remember if we talked about that. I know that DEQ is working on that. But as far as I know, they've done, because they did a study on presence absence, but like the relative percentages is a pretty elusive thing to try to get out of them. So they did some caffeine analysis and, I think I do remember, I was talking about that, that's a big.
Yeah, I was-
And like artificial sweeteners as tracers with that. And so they did find all of those things that would, it's like, well, here's the markers of septic effluent in these same areas that have a lot of nitrates, but whether that's 10% of what they're measuring or 60% of the nitrates. I know that we've kind of pushed DEQ to try to give us better estimates, but
Oh, okay.
that's, I think, where the state of the understanding is. They're continuing to work on it, like they're working on a watershed scale, like nitrogen budget that isn't a direct measurement, but it's their best sort of systematic estimate of, how much is coming in from an ag, how much is coming in from feeding animals, how much is septic.
Right.
And then trying to model the inputs and outputs of the whole.
Because part of this is to
Yeah.
help the groundwater.
Yep.
And so and I can't remember exactly what I heard, but I knew it stuck in my brain because I thought, hey, this is great, because now you can isolate, you know, the benefit of the project, right? If you can do that. And I was just gonna suggest that if, we vote to do this project next summer, we might wanna take some water samples right before we do the project to create a baseline, so that later we can take them again and see whether these things help, but. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
I will say that, DQ is going through their kind of TMDL process in Tammany, but they're still looking at Lindsay Creek, so I'm pretty certain that they're still taking some
Samples.
samples
okay,
as we're going forward. I'll reach out to them and just,
yeah,
if we're gonna be doing the sewer project, remind them that we'd love to see that.
yeah, because, I mean, if we can prove that we have helped the groundwater, that'd be a huge win for the project, right?
Yeah, although with 17, 18, and 19, are they empty lots or conversions or both?
They would be conversions.
Okay.
There is a large segment of
Okay.
empty property, along 17th.
Okay.
I don't know that you would see development. It appears that they're using that as horse property.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we can assume that we're seeing benefit.
Do we know that there's people
Well, the
on
whole
those lots?
project would be based upon.
I know for
Right,
sure
right,
one,
Yeah.
on
Right, just
17th,
like hard
the
data.
corner of 17th, they've already called about, being able to potentially divide their lot, and they can't do that without
Okay.
sewer, because they're only have an acre and they're already gonna set it.
Is it a fair assumption that testing water in Tammany Creek would be, or it's not Tammany Creek, it's,
Tammany,
Lindsay.
Lindsay Creek there.
Lindsay Creek?
Basically all the area that we were talking about in sewer in there kind of drains towards Lindsay Creek. The whole area tips there. Part of the URA area is tributary to Tammany, but we haven't really gotten
No.
anything built.
No, I meant Lindsay Creek.
Joe, was this just nitrates or was it coliform bacteria one of the things that they were trying to clean too?
It's also impaired for bacteria. Yeah.
All right, any other discussion on that? Did you guys get enough direction?
Yeah.
Okay,
So we will not be bringing an amended budget to you, that I'm aware of. Something might change that, but the plan will be not to do an additional bond payment and therefore an amended budget. But we will be bringing a draft FY 25 budget to you at the next meeting.
Do we need a motion or is this just?
nope, this.
We just
Yeah,
need to
it's an action item.
Yeah.
So, I should know this, but I'm gonna expose my ignorance on this, all right? So, we did a bond, and the way I thought it worked is that we got basically a loan via this bond. And then we use the money from the increment to pay off that bond. So is that bond already, have we taken all that money and already sunk it into the project?
Yes.
Okay, so
That was.
there's no bond money to do 19.
What was
So
that?
There's no bond money to do
No.
19.
No, the bond money has been exhausted out.
Bond money paid for the first
The
segment
trunk.
that was there.
Yeah, so I do know that from when we worked that, we're way ahead of what was in the original project plan for
Yes.
increment revenue. So is there any, value into considering taking another bond out and doing more work if we can do it? Because we have the increment to pay for that.
Yeah, so we briefly approached that with the city. One thing that we did do though is that we borrowed $1 million from the city to do the first bond.
Mhm.
And so we don't have the cash for the surety to do that again.
Oh, okay,
So
Gotcha.
it's not, it's more of the pay-as-you-go method for this.
for this, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha,
Yeah.
okay,
Plus, because we have an existing bond, it's not great
right.
to get another bond.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Would now the new bond be in first position and then,
Right.
and so the guy, yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
You would make me friends.
Yeah. But we had the same question, like, just kind of tried to explore all of the possibilities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
You probably told us before, but when is the normal schedule of bond payments? Clean it up for
It was 20, it was, I thought it was 20.
31 would be done, just based on the standard 150.
Mhm. Yeah, so we have accelerated that a small bit from those extra bond payments. I did send another email to, I just kind of send it annually to Banner to say, are we in the position now where we can, release the secondary, debt service? Once that's released, then we can, pay back the city, so we owe the city 552. And we will pay them when the bond, reserves are released. So we could, there's two of them, one for 228, one for 400,000. And I believe it's a very complicated wording in the bond, but the city treasurer and I have looked at it and have approached Banner Bank about releasing the secondary reserve.
So when are we, if we just do the standard schedule, when would we pay the bond off?
It sounds like 31.
31.
Oh, at 31, okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's the
31,
schedule. And then what's the term on this?
37 is when,
at 150,000.
yes. Yeah, it terminates in 37, and we're showing with the additional bond payments we've made, bond being paid off in 31.
Yeah, so I would think that if we were close to paying off the bond, then that might be and
Time
then
to explore
just,
that again.
yeah, if we had the money, we paid off, then do another bond and not put,
Yeah.
put them in second position. Then we'd get more done. But, yeah, I'm
Got a lot
still,
of people we make that decision.
still sold on the direction we all talked about.
Okay, me too.
All right, then I will move on. Any other comments? Or move on? All right, moving on to unfinished and new business, open it up for board member comment.
Now, I was gonna ask, I didn't get an opportunity to watch the city council last night. Did you watch it? Oh, no. But, I know in our minutes, they were gonna terminate, vote on and terminate. Did that happen?
It did. So the URA board is the official termination, but the city council has to do a ordinance for that. And it did pass last night, with no comments, no questions. So what happens now is that we get that ordinance recorded. Once we get that recorded back, usually a couple weeks, then we proceed with what I talked about in August, which is the first round of distributions to the taxing entities.
Awesome.
Okay, I've got a comment. So I was reading through the minutes and I was gonna reply to that email for the URA lobbyist.
Oh, yeah.
And I slipped my mind for some reason.
That's
I've
okay.
been busy, but I'll get that in the next week.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, I want to approach the school board. Not sure if that's the right person or probably the school board. Because it seems odd that they are paying, more than the port on these projects, but the port has a seat on the board and seeing if, they have any interest in having a seat on the URA board since it's some of their district money that is coming in. And I was thinking, well, maybe I should approach them first, but then I thought it'd be better to mention it here. And
Yeah.
I would take comment.
They
but-
originally had somebody, so Joy Rapp, when she was the superintendent,
Uh-huh.
was on the URA board and had a seat. And then, the school district decided they no longer wanted to have a seat on the board. But that doesn't mean that sentiment has changed
Okay.
since then, because we are two superintendents out from that. So it was the superintendent that sat on the board, not a board member.
So it'd be the superintendent, be the logical person to contact.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lance, yep, do you know Lance?
No, I don't, but I'll call him and just
Okay.
talk about it unless anybody has an objection to that.
Raise hands.
Yep.
I don't have any objection.
Okay.
And remember, after Joey Rapp left the board, we had their first our
for a period of time.
Oh, did we? Okay. Yeah, so the only thing, so once that happened, then we, I believe, then we had 3, member at large positions. And so if the school board were want to get back on, we need to look at the bylaws to, we might have to, we would have to redo the bylaws.
Right,
for
right,
sure,
yeah,
but-
that's, we'd have to open that up.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
so.
so anyway.
All right, so you'll reach out to him? Okay. Anybody else have any comments? I was just gonna give a shout out to you for, moving the money to the money market, that suggestion, and making all the money for us.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, well, that was,
Every little bit counts.
yeah,
So that's.
I learned it from
That's
Dan,
great
so, yeah, so anyway.
Only pay for some steps.
Absolutely. So, thank you for that. All right, I'll move on to staff comments. Anybody has any-
You know, I pretty much said everything I was gonna say about the closure of the East Main revenue allocation area. But yeah, it was the school's choice to be off the board, is my understanding.
Okay.
It wasn't a forced thing or anything like that.
That's accurate.
So,
All right.
yeah, so we're just moving right along. Draft budget is next time. We have to make estimates on expenditures. Do the best we can there. Sometimes it's hard to know.
Appreciate the institutional knowledge.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So move.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Yeah.
All opposed? Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah, moving along. Thank you.
One.